Hello tacticians, it's Nox here, and today we're going to be looking at the Tau Empire faction for use in the faction Taunt Arena. But before I go into them, I just want to say my usual thank yous, and today they go to Zen Hero, Brunzi, Charter, Lost Dog, hope you're found, and Blessed Cursed. All of you have used my friend code, and it is very much appreciated, as it really does help me out. So, thank you once again. And now, let's have a look at how the Tau might be in the faction Taunt Arena. So let's start with the most obvious powerhouse that we should all be more than aware of in the Tau faction, and that is Rayvas. We move Rayvas forward, we go into Overwatch, and that basically means when the enemy comes to us, and we'll start off with Golgort, who can, if they have a health power-up, withstand the power of Rayvas, but let's do it without that. You can see that the Overwatch kills the boss Golgorts, and as more and more orcs come in, more and more orcs die. And of course, in this scenario, what the Tau player can do is after one turn, we can go in again, use On-She's Inspired to Greatness, and that allows Rayvas to go into Overwatch again. So against armies such as the orcs, as long as they're not getting those health power-ups, the Tau are very good. But there is one glaring weakness that the Tau will commonly face in these Taunt Arenas, and that is Terminator armor, used by people such as the World Eaters, Black Templar, Space Wolves. So let's have a look at what happens there. So for the sake of simplicity, again, I'm just going to go into Overwatch and I'm going to put the Terminator armor within 2 hexes of Rayvas to show you how little damage that Rayvas will actually do. And there you go. Not much damage at all, which would mean the rest of the World Eaters could come charging in and really ruin Rayvas's day. So is there anything that the Tau can do against Terminator armor? Well, thankfully, yes there is, and it's in the shape of Darkstrider. So Darkstrider can quite happily rock up and shoot someone and put a marker light on them, which gives the effect that ranged attacks from Tau units deal an additional 15% damage against it. And then when you combine that with Darkstrider's passive, you'll see that allied units adjacent to Darkstrider deal an additional amount of damage with ranged attacks against targets with a marker light. So shooting with Rayvas now, well, Angrax there just managed to survive with 3 health. So we should be able to finish him off quite simply using anyone else. But it doesn't end there. Darkstrider has yet more tricks up his sleeve. If we switch back to the World Eaters, and, well, what we'll do, we'll just form a little circle here. Yes, it wouldn't really happen, I know. But the idea is that when they're like this, and you really want to do a lot of damage, you can send Darkstrider in and do the fighting retreat. And there you go. 3 lots of marker lights for you to really take advantage of. Now, I should have probably moved the others up, but as you can imagine, if you manage to kill off one, then you can use the other Tau to kill off others who have also got marker lights. So, as a Tau player, be careful what happens to Darkstrider. You really don't want him to die. But we still haven't finished. So we'll get into the same scenario again, but this time we're going to move up Shadow Sun and obviously Show Sill and everyone else. So we'll still trigger that Overwatch. Now, with Shadow Sun, she has a great passive as well. Defender of the Greater Good. Friendly units adjacent to Shadow Sun or within 2 hexes of her command link drone, which you get by using her active, will deal an additional amount of damage too. And on top of that, there's a chance of an additional hit as well. So let's just put On-She up here. We can use Shadow Sun's Exemplar of the Koyon to move to a decent position, and you'll see that there comes the command link drone, and you've got the Defender of the Greater Good on that as well as some saviour protocols should your Tau troops be near it. And those saviour protocols really can save your Tau from a lot of trouble if they get shot. So you've now got Darkstrider adding damage, and you've got the command link drone, which adds damage to anyone within 2 hexes. Really, this is a very synergistic team. And if you really want to reach out and touch someone, you've actually got probably the longest range in the game with the active from Show Sill's Seeker Missile Frequency Lock, which will target someone 5 hexes away. And if you've got a command link drone next to you or one of the shield drones, you've got some protection should they wish to come charging in. And finally, On Shi. It's important to note that his passive cycles through the 3 modes, and if you can time it to coordinate an attack when you get the damage buff, your enemies will literally melt before you. And of course the damage reduction is pretty amazing too, so keep those Tau units within 2 hexes. So whilst the Tau may not have been at the peak with the power-up faction Taunt Arena, should we come across one without the power-ups, say the Territory Taunt Arena, then they are really going to come into their own there. So what can you do if you're facing the Tau? As I would say 9 times out of 10, the summoning in of the drones and going in Overwatch is what they're going to do on the first turn. Well, there are a couple of factions which have answers. You've got the factions, such as the Space Wolves, that have people with Infiltrate, as they can run in and they won't trigger Overwatch. And of course this goes for the Eldari as well as the Adeptus Mechanicus. And then, surprisingly, Volk is actually quite good here too, because of the suppressive fire trait and the fact Volk has got a range of 3. So Volk can quite happily move up and attack, suppressing Rayvas and turning off that Overwatch. But unfortunately, the characters with suppressive fire aren't always in the best factions. We've got the Astra Militarum with Thaddeus and, of course, the Black Legion with Volk. I certainly wouldn't put either of those 2 in the top. Going back to Infiltrate, the Eldari are a very good team, and I imagine if there are no power-ups available, then there is a possibility that the Ad Mech will really start to shine. And the Space Wolves, well, part of me really wants them to be good, but unfortunately I don't think they're that much of a cohesive force to be that overwhelming. They're great individually against their specific targets, but working together as a team, there's certainly better factions out there. There is, of course, another way, and that's the fact you just ignore the Overwatch. Don't approach Rayvas within 2 and you will be perfectly safe. By all means, attack the drones to kill them off and therefore not allow them the protection that the drones add. Or have some flyers, such as Celestine, and in that case just fly straight over Rayvas and go for the squishier targets that are a bit easier to kill. All in all, the Tau did surprise me on the power-up TA. They are much better than I gave them credit for, and as I said earlier, I think they're going to be really good if and when we have a tournament arena that doesn't focus on the power-ups. You just have to be careful for those darned infiltrators and those guys in Terminator armour. If you like these videos, then it would be much appreciated if you at least think about using my friend code, as it really does help me out. Or if you or your guilds are looking for a new home, please reach out to any of the guilds shown, as we'll always welcome new people into our midst. As always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you on the battlefield.